Welcome back to the Angels here on MLB The Show 25. As you can see, we are sitting here in the month of May now. Still early May, so still very early on in the season here, but you can see we're also rocking a W3 at the moment. That's a winning streak, boys. The Halos are currently sitting at 20-16 on the season, one game out of first place in the American League West, rocking that W3 at the moment, 6-4 in our last 10, so things are starting to look up here in the division. Still scoring more runs than we're giving up, but we are giving up a good amount of runs, at least when it comes to the American League West teams. But I mean, the Rangers are I guess they're just pitching really well, but the Mariners, they're giving up about the same amount of runs that we are. And as of last season, they're like the standard of this division. But yeah, you've got other teams that are giving up more runs than us around the league. So it's not like we're giving up a ton in correlation to the rest of the league, but in the division, definitely up there. But we're also scoring the most runs in the division, so that is also good to see. And that is reflective of our free agent signings, I feel like. We have picked up a decent amount of talent to infuse into our lineup here. Nolan Schanuel still hitting well. Zach Neto's got his OPS up into the 800s. Ohapi's struggling. Curtis Mead's starting to catch fire, so we'd love to see that. Lamont Wade's still doing his thing. Mike Trout's still hitting well. Urias, Grisham, Kelnick, Carlson, Fontenelle, they're all struggling. Really, it's just Urias, Grisham, Kelnick, Carlson who are getting regular time in the lineup, but I'm confident they're going to turn things around as the season goes on. Urias is still walking a decent amount. He's just not hitting for average or power at the moment. Grisham's not really doing much, but he's here for his glove first anyways. I'm just hoping he can provide a little bit of pop with that 66 power, 62 power against righties and lefties respectively. And he has the discipline too, so you would like to see him walk a bit more. And then Kelnick, I don't know, I feel like Kelnick could be a better bat, but we'll have to see how the season goes. And then Carlson, I also feel like could be performing better than he is at the moment. Well, on the pitching side of things, it is reflective of how our team is giving up a decent amount of runs, but we're mainly scoring runs is how we're winning games, because none of the FIPs or anything are too impressive. Kikuchi's got a solid ERA, but the FIP is a 4.4. Dana's got a 3 ERA, but the FIP is a bit high. Klassen's got a 2 ERA, but the FIP is a bit high. Soriano's got a 5 ERA and a 5 FIP, high 5, mid FIP, high 5 ERA, mid 5 FIP. Reed Detmers has been terrible this season, and that's not just the start that I had, where it was just a holy wind-up. I could not get that timing down at all in that first inning. And then most of our bullpen has been pretty good so far. Ryan Johnson, he's got a 3 ERA and a 3 FIP. Silseth has a good FIP, but not a great ERA. Kahanowitz has definitely struggled in the bullpen. He might go down and just be in the rotation in AAA, but we'll probably give him a little bit longer here in the big leagues to see if he can turn things around. Hobie Milner has been fantastic in our pen, as well as Sir Anthony Dominguez, our two free agent acquisitions, reliever-wise. And Ben Joyce has that 6 ERA, but his FIP is sub 4, and he's starting to figure things out here. And hopefully the ERA will continue to go down as he continues to pitch well. Angel Perdomo has been fantastic, and even Sam Bachman has been pretty solid for us as well. The Angels playing host to the A's as you see the season head-to-head. So far, the Angels have gotten the best of the A's as they look to continue that here with George Klassen on the bump, making his 8th start of the season. Top one, Zach Geloff comes up with 2 outs and bases juiced and proceeds to just sky one in the infield. Lamont puts it away for out number 3 as Klassen tiptoes out of danger. Move things on bottom 1 where Mitch Spence is going to be towing the slab for the A's on the day. Take a look at the Angels lineup. Start things off with the Aussie. Curtis Mead steps in the batter's box, full count with 2 outs, grounds one down the left field line. Their left fielder overruns it a bit, and that allows Mead to trot into second base with a 2-out double. But then unfortunately, Lamont Wade would not be able to drive him in as he lines one right at Kyle McCann for the 3rd out of the inning. Move things on bottom 2 where the Angels try to get something going once again with 1 out. It is Jared Kelnick drawing a walk, And then Luis Arias comes up, loops one into right field in front of Lawrence Butler, allows Kelenic to go first to third with some nice base running, so one out, runners on the corners, but then Matt Thaiss grounds one into a 6-4-3 double play, so still 0-0 as we move things on to the top of the third. And Klassen had it working, gets Wilson on the slider there for the first out of the inning. Then Brent Rooker grounds out to second base, easy 2 outs, brings up Lawrence Butler, and he would proceed to just fly one out to left center field. Kelenic gives chase, puts it away for the third out, and it's still scoreless. Move things on bottom 3, Nolan Shawnuel blooping one out to center field over the outreach glove of Wilson, lands in front of the center fielder. 1 out hit for Shawnuel, brings up Mike Trout. You give him that middle cutter, and he's taking it over the left field wall into the bullpen. A 2-run big fly for Mike Trout. As it's now a 2-0 Angels lead, they jump off to a lead here early on in this game. So move things on top 4, where Klassen continued to have it working. He strikes out Bleday with the up-and-in fastball, and then gets Langoliers to end the inning on the same pitch. So 2 Ks in that inning, move things on top 5, and the A's bats start to show up a bit here. Kyle McCann, the former Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket, grounds one up the middle, and then Brett Harris connects on a ball and just sends it a long way over the left field fence, 400 feet. A 2-run home run makes it a 2-2 ball game here as we are tied up in Anaheim. And the Athletics bats were not done in the inning as Asturi Ruiz comes up, bloops one into center field. Grisham gets to it quickly, keeps the speedy Ruiz at first. But then with Brent Rooker at the dish, Ruiz would go and do what he does best and swipe second base to get himself into scoring position. And then Brent Rooker somehow pulls a away pitch into left field, bloops in front of Kelenic, allows Ruiz to score from second base, and the A's have themselves their first lead of the ball game. But then the Angels, their bats were not dead on the day. Trent Grisham with a little perfect, hard ground ball into right field to lead off the inning, and then Nolan Shawnuel connects on a big fly here for the Halos. Another 2-run blast here in this ball game, this time for the Angels, makes it a 4-3 game as they are back on top, but the bats once again were not done. The Aussie comes up and rips one into left center field. That's a base knock, brings up Lamont Wade, grounds one over to first. McCann's throw goes into the outfield, and that allows the runners to move up to second and third. So 2 in scoring position here as that would end Mitch Spence's day. Cole Waits comes in out of the bullpen here for the Athletics. Facing Zach Neto, spits on ball 4, and bases are now juiced here for the Halos. Brings up Jared Kelenic, who would proceed to bloop one into right field. That's going to score 2 runners. Now it's a 6-3 lead here for the Halos, and they still were not done. Luis Arias comes up, first pitch he sees, sending it out to right center field. That one's over the entire wall. You hang him, he bangs him. 3-run blast this time, another home run on the day here for the Angels as they have themselves quite a power surge. And the A's turn to their 3rd pitcher of the inning. This time it's Luis Medina facing Matt Thaiss, the New Jersey native. He's going opposite field over the head of Ruiz and left. Diving glove cannot make the play, so Matt Thaiss has himself a 1-out double. Brings up Nolan Shawnuel for the 2nd time this inning, and he goes out to left center field. That's going to easily drive in the runner. It is now a 10-3 ball game. Double digits runs on the day here for the Halos would be enough to win it. The A's would tack on a couple more to make it a 10-6 ball game, but the Angels do win this one 10-6. That is your final. Player of the game honors go to the DH, Nolan Shawnuel, with a fantastic 4-for-5 game on the day. Home run, 2 doubles, 3 ribbies for Shawnuel. Luis Arias was 3-for-4 on the day as well. He had a 3-run home run. Curtis Mead was 3-for-4. Trout homered. George Klassen goes 5 innings, only gave up 3 runs, struck out 4 batters. Solid day all around for the Halos. And before we move things on to the next game here, let's do a little minor league check-in here on last year's number 2 overall selection, Andres Rivera, the left-handed pitcher out of Venezuela. And boy, does he look like he's going to live up to that number 2 selection. An A potential, 72 overall already, looking damn good. already has a 66 hit per 9, 64 walk per 9, and a 65 home run per 9. And those are just going to keep going up and up, obviously, as a young guy with an A potential. Not a big strikeout guy, but that's totally fine. We're not totally all about the strikeout here. If a guy can get outs, he can get outs. It doesn't matter to me how he gets them. And he's also got that 94 stamina, which is going to allow him to work deep into ball games, which is always a big plus. He only has a 3-pitch mix at the moment. He has a fastball, he has a slider, and a splitter. He will throw the fastball against both hitters, obviously. He'll throw the splitter against both righties and lefties, but the slider really only effective right now against left-handed batters trailing away from them. So somewhere down the line, we could look to give Rivera a 4th pitch, get him in the pitching lab, work on a 4th pitch, be able to use another pitch against righties because that could really help him out in getting out right-handed hitters. Possibly another fastball, I'm thinking. Maybe like a sinker, 2-seamer, cutter type pitch. Kikuchi is really good with the cutter against right-handed batters, so I'm really thinking I'm leaning cutter as the 4th pitch here for Rivera if we do decide to give him a 4th one. And the other thing about Rivera right now is that he is ranked as the number 2 prospect in all of baseball, according to MLB The Show. Number 1 on that list is Mark O'Connor of the Seattle Mariners. If you remember, in last year's draft, we were thinking about taking Mark O'Connor at number 2 overall, but we ended up going with the pitcher. And in hindsight, Mark O'Connor's bat would have been fantastic to have in the system, probably would be already on the Major League team right now. But on the flip side, a potential top 3 of your rotation being George Klassen, Andres Rivera, and Caden Dana in some variation, that's looking pretty mighty intriguing as well. And that's also not even mentioning some of the other high potential arms that we have here in the system with the Angels. So, it's just a fun time to be pitching here in the Angels organization. A lot of young arms coming up the system. And Rivera could very well be a fast riser. He could be on the big league team as early as next season. Probably ideally, maybe taking the place of Kikuchi once Kikuchi leaves after next season, so maybe 2 years from now. He develops the rest of this season in Double-A, cooks for another year in the minor leagues in 2027, and then in 2028, bang, he's ready to be in the big-time show as a part of our rotation. But, he could force our hand and force his way onto the rotation earlier than that, but, probably best outlook is he is opening day, not opening day starter, but on the 26-man opening day roster for 2028 in Season 4. Alrighty, folks, things are looking pretty up here in Orange County as the Los Angeles Angels, currently on a 9-1 in their last 10, rocking a W4 at the moment as well after a sweep of Colorado in Denver, and then also starting the series off in San Diego with a W as well with a 5-0 win. Caden Dana on the hill for that one against Matt Waldron. And that 9-1 in your last 10 will get you first place in the American League West. Don't look now, the Angels looking like a good baseball club here in 2026. Best offense when it comes to runs scoring in the AL West. And really just one of the best in the American League. We have 224 runs scored for us this season. That would lead all the Central teams, and it would be second in the American League East, only behind the Blue Jays. And with that offense, basically the whole damn team is on fire right now. Zach Neto's starting to cool off a bit. That OBP's dipping down below 300, which we don't love to see at all. But the rest of the team, pretty much clicking right now. Nolan Shawnoy, you can see here, 997 OPS, a 400 OBP in the leadoff spot, 13 home runs, 11 doubles already on the season. He's getting some pluses against contact and power versus righties. Looking like a damn good player here for us at first base. Lamont Wade has been phenomenal with a 944 OPS, 11 home runs, and 10 doubles for him. Mike Trout's got a 900 OPS with 12 home runs and 14 doubles. Curtis Mead's not on fire anymore, but he is hitting decently well. Trent Grisham's still struggling. Jared Kelnick's still struggling, but Luis Urias starting to turn things around. He's got his OPS up to 796, 350 OBP to boot. 4 doubles, 6 home runs. We'll take it. He's a solid hitter for us. And then in a very, very, very small sample size, only 47 ABs, Vidal Brujan has actually been pretty good coming off the bench for us, but like I said, extremely small sample size. The red-hot Luis Urias and the Angels are traveling out to San Diego to take on Joe Musgrove and the Padres. Making his 10th start of the season is Musgrove. Take a look at the 1-9 for the day. On the Halos side of things, we'll start things off top half of the second inning. Logan O'Hoppe spitting on ball 4, drawing himself a leadoff walk, and he would have to wait until 2 outs in the inning. He's still on first base, but then Dylan Carlson comes up, gets a middle-up fastball, and deposits it into the right field seats as the power surge continues here for this Angels ball club. They jump out to a 2-0 lead here early in the game. Yusei Kikuchi, the Japanese starter, making his 10th start of the season. The lefty on the bump here, 2 outs, bottom 2. Rosario putting a charge into one in left field. Carlson ranging back at the wall, leaping up and potentially saving a home run there. Dylan Carlson making a fantastic play. Move things on top 3 where Mike Trout, he goes out to left field, and this one's not going to be contained. That's off the brick out there in left, as it's now a 3-0 lead here for the Halos. Jumping out to an early 3-0 lead. Move things on, bottom 4, 2 outs as Machado goes down swinging as Kikuchi really had it working today. Move things on, bottom 5, Rosario jamming up inside with that cutter, gets it to pop up the right field weakly. That's 2 down, brings up Arroyo, and then he would proceed to get a cutter blown by him, up and in, just whiffs through it. Another clean inning for Kikuchi. Move things on to the top of the 7th, where former top prospect Steven Kolek comes on here for the Padres. Out of the bullpen, facing Curtis Mead with 1 out, as he would proceed to ground one up the middle into center field, find some outfield grass. It's a base knock. So Mead on first base, but then Jackson Merrill's throw just lazily goes past the infielder into the dugout, and that allows Mead to end up on third base as it goes out of play. And then Arias would then just ground one over to second base, driving another runner. It's now 4-0 for the Halos, and you've got Kikuchi on the bump, who is just wheeling and dealing. Strikes out Tatis there on the up-and-in fastball to start the inning, and then does the same thing to Machado to end the inning. He's through 7 scoreless. Move things on to the 8th. Campusano comes up, ground ball second base, easy play for Arias. That's 1 down. Next batter up, Rosario. Gets jammed on the cutter once again, pops it up to the infield. O'Hoppe calls off everybody, puts it away for out number 2. And then it brings up Arroyo, who proceeds to go out the left center field for a double. So that would end up ending Kikuchi's day as he goes 7 2/3 scoreless. A fantastic day for Kikuchi, but Ben Joyce comes on looking for the 4-out save, and he would proceed to get it. He works out of the 8th cleanly, and then in the 9th works a 1-2-3 inning, topped off by a Fernando Tatis pop-up to center field, as the Halos win this one 4-0, shut out the Padres here in the Whale's Vagina. As like I said, Yusei Kikuchi was spectacular on the day. He goes 7 2/3, gets those player of the game honors, 2 hits, 4 Ks, no walks, and no earned runs for the Japanese lefty. Dylan Carlson goes 2 for 3 with a double and a home run. Mike Trout also had a big fly on the day. Only 6 hits for the Angels, but it is enough to get the job done with 4 runs when you've got Kikuchi on the bump just mowing him down all day long. Well, folks, it finally happened. Mike Trout is finally on the IL for the first time in this series. A pretty significant injury, a fractured wrist. I'd imagine that that's probably a broken hamate bone, just based on, what I know about baseball and how not in-depth this game is. But fractured wrist out for 1 to 2 months. And we are unfortunately without Trent Grisham here for 1 to 2 weeks. Fortunately, that is a smaller injury, so he'll only be out for a little bit. He has 7 days left on the IL, 1 to 2 weeks left on the estimated injury time, but he'll be back at some point soon, whereas Trout is going to be out for quite a decent amount of time for us, and that is a big bummer because he was playing quite well. 943 OPS, as he does. Mike Trout, he's the best. What can you say? 15 doubles, 14 home runs. But the good news is it hasn't really affected our play too much as of recently. I forget exactly when he went down. It was like a week or 2 ago. But as you can see, we did lose a 2-game set to Texas on the road, but we're on the verge of, or I guess it's a 4-game set. So we've taken the first 2 of this game in Tampa in this 4-game set. Before that, we beat the Mets in a series. We beat Houston in a series. Or no, we split with Houston. We beat San Diego, swept Colorado on the road, beat Boston, beat the A's. So it's been a good month of May here. But, hopefully we can keep up the winning here without Mike Trout. As we take a look at these standings, we are currently in first place still. 1 game in front of the Seattle Mariners, 1.5 games in front of the Texas Rangers. And the Mariners are currently surging with a 9-1 in their last 10. And then, as far as who we called up to take the place of Grisham and Trout on the Major League roster, Isaac Collins is now up in the big leagues for us. We picked him up from the Brewers last year in the Yoan Moncada trade. High discipline, even bat overall. Could possibly get like a sort of season where he tears it up in AAA and gets like a big boost to his contact or power. But right now it's mainly discipline and defense. So he's up playing left field for us. And then we also called up Kyron Paris to be our shortstop center field depth coming off the bench. We know all about him. Not a great bat, but solid defender. The Halos hit the road as they're saying hey to their old friend Joe Adell, now playing for the Tampa Bay Rays, and Jose Soriano getting the start here for the Angels, making his 12th of the season. Start things off bottom half of the first, gets 2 quick outs, but then Junior Caminero gets a slurve that does not break, and that one is deposited into the left field seats as the Rays jump out to a 1-0 lead, and they were not done. Christopher Morel does the same thing. Back-to-back solo shots here for Tampa Bay. Makes it a 2-0 Rays lead here early in this ball game. We move things on to the top of the second where Ryan Pepio was on the bump here for the Rays, making his 11th start of the campaign. Take a look at the Angels lineup listed 1-9. Zach Neto digging into the batter's box here, top 2 outs. Putting a charge into one to right field. Josh Lowe ranging back, gives it a leap and brings it back into the ballpark, robbing Neto of a home run. And then we proceed to move on to the bottom of the second where Jose Caballero grounds one up the middle for a base knock, keeping the inning alive with 2 outs. And then Josh Lowe, he robbed a home run, and now he's hitting a home run, depositing that into the right field seats as it's now another solo shot. Or no, that was a 2-run shot here for the Rays, their 3rd home run of the game already, as Soriano continues to have struggles here for the Angels in their rotation. 4-0 Rays move things on top 3 where Sean Noel singles. Then it brings up Lamont Raid rocking the stirrups like he did in college at Maryland. And Sean Noel is going to be trying to score on this one as Wade hits that one out to right field, but then gets caught up on third base, diving back in, deciding not to try to score, and gets thrown out on third. And then Meade gets rung up on a curveball that just nicks the top of the zone, a pitch that would never be called a strike in real life. Gets him there. Move things on bottom 3 where Caminero draws a leadoff walk from Soriano. Then it brings up Lane Thomas. He would also walk with 1 out, so 2 on, 1 out. Then brings up Carter Jensen, who proceeds to ground one over to shortstop. Neto gives it a dive, knocks it down, keeps the run from scoring, but it is an infield single, so bases are juiced here for Tampa. Ground ball from Johnny DeLuca, 4-6-3 perhaps, not quite. DeLuca's got the fleet feet to beat it out. Run comes in, it's now 5-0, but then Soriano would get a ground ball to get out of it and just keep it at only 1 run scoring that inning. Move things on to the bottom, or the top half of the 6th, where Manuel Rodriguez comes on here for the Rays. And facing Luis Arias here with 2 outs, he spits on ball 4. He'll take his base. Next batter up is Jared Kelenic. Arias going on the full count with 2 outs is able to go first to third on the Kelenic ground ball. So it's runners on the corners all of a sudden here for the Angels, and they are back in this ball game. Zach Neto, the Campbell fighting Camel, delivering a 3-run blast, 372 into the left center field seats, as this one is now a 5-3 ball game. Move things on to the bottom of the 6th, where Jack Kahanowitz has been on for a couple innings now. Gives up a double down the line to Johnny DeLuca, unfortunately, to lead off the inning. And then Brandon Lau comes up, and he would proceed to also get on base with a walk there. So first and second, nobody out, brings up Caballero. Somehow bloops a pitch in the dirt, curveball in the dirt essentially. Bloops into the right field, scores a run. It's now a 6-3 game. Runners on the corners, now with 1 out as Josh Lowe goes down swinging, brings up Ha-Seong Kim. he would go down swinging, back-to-back Ks, and then you guessed it, Kahanowitz clutches up, strikes out 3 straight batters, keeps it at only 1 run scoring as Caminera goes down looking. Move things on bottom of the 7 where Christopher Morel starting things off with a double again on Kahanowitz here in the bottom of the 7th. So he's in scoring position, but that would end Kahanowitz's day as Ryan Johnson comes in out of the bullpen, the Dallas Baptist man. And he would proceed on the second pitch he throws to hang a slider, and that is deposited into the right center field seats by the Lane train, Lane Thomas. 2-run blast, it's an 8-3 lead for Tampa Bay, and that would end up being your final. As the Angels did flash some offense, some possibilities, some runners left on base, could have been closer than it was, but the pitching just let them down, and the offense also let them down. Overall, not a great performance from the Angels. Kahanowitz was pretty good out of the bullpen, though. Soriano continues to struggle as a starter here in Anaheim, as he only goes 3 innings, gives up 7 hits, walks 3 batters, and gives up 5 runs. He continues, just like I said, just continues to struggle. Zach Neto with a good game, though, with a 3-run blast back in the 6th inning, and then Lamont Wade with 3 for 5 on the day with 3 doubles. And then Logan O'Hoppe had 2 walks as well with a hit. But then obviously the Rays' 13 hits and 8 runs is much better than our offense did as they get the W. So with that being said, that's going to wrap things up here for this edition of the Angels here on MLB The Show 25. I've been your host, JerseyBorn, and I'm saying, built to spill.